Namaste. So this will be the last video for a while. Every year towards the winter solstice, I take a retreat. And this year I'm taking a little bit early. The nice, peaceful farming village that I was staying in has turned into a bustling tourist resort practically overnight. All kinds of new construction going up, and it's just intolerably noisy. So I have to get out of here. I found a place to go. So I'm going to be going into silence for a while. You know, in all these videos, going back even years ago, I talk a lot about different forms of meditation, different kinds of knowledge and this and that. But I never really talk much about myself. You might think, oh yeah, sure you do. You tell us all kinds of stories about where you've been and stuff you've done. Not really. Not the important ones anyway. And the reason for that is that they're just too far out, too hard to grasp for the average person. I'm trying to give the background that will enable somebody, to understand my inner world, my inner state. But it's been like a tooth and nail, resistance every step of the way. So I don't know. We started a private group with a Skype channel. A Slack channel and all that. But it hasn't worked out. The so-called students aren't doing any work. They're not meeting the challenges and goals that I set for them. So I'm pretty fed up with that. And these videos on YouTube, this series and so on, is similar because there's no feedback. Michael McClure is making some very nice comments and a few others here and there. But there's no real dialogue. People are just taking it as entertainment instead of as instruction. And what to speak of duplicating any of the information or the methods revealed. So it's like, I have to go take care of myself because I'm being summoned. You see, one of the first arts that I learned way back when I was like 20, 21 years old was Jñāna-yoga. Nada means subtle sound. So my music teacher, Ali Akbar Khan, introduced me to this Jñāna-yoga because it's really the basis of Indian music. And then I had some other teachers, especially Kirpal Singh and Charan Singh, his son, who initiated me in some of the esoteric methods. And so basically, I am all the time hearing a cosmic sound stream that tells me all kinds of things that really can't be described in words. So it's beautiful. It's the music of the spheres. And it reflects the condition of the cosmos and my particular role in it, which is that right now I'm anchoring this place, Tiruvannamalai. And I was shown this, almost 2 years ago now at Mahashivaratri in a vision. So, it's been, a big strain on me to keep up these videos and try to deal with the reality that most people are in, because my reality is completely different. And I don't know anybody except maybe Michael who could understand it. But see, the prevailing misunderstanding especially in the Neo-Advaita crowd, is that dualistic religion and even bhakti are to be transcended and just dropped. And this is, of course, this is a partial understanding. It's actually a misunderstanding. We know that Ramana Maharshi, for example, had full knowledge of not only Advaita, but also Bhakti. And his practice of Bhakti was really, really wonderful. But it was all internal. It wasn't in the form of external ceremonies and like that. It was in the form of his ecstatic emotions and symptoms. So in the same way, I practiced bhakti externally for more than 30 years, and I got certain realizations. See, in bhakti, advanced bhakti, spontaneous bhakti, there's something called Ishta-devata. Now, Ishta-devata means the particular form of God that you are eternally related with in a particular mood, and that you engage in the spiritual form in pastimes with. So at a certain point, I became curious to know, who is my Ishta-devata? Now, I had been worshiping Krishna, so I assumed it was Krishna. But I didn't know, because I hadn't had the inner experiences that, or the realizations that go along with that. So I approached a senior Babaji, a senior sannyasi from Vrindavan, and I asked him, well, how do I realize this? And he said, oh, you chant this particular mantra, the Kama Gayatri mantra. Now, don't go out and look up this on Google and then try to do it yourself. If it's, it can't be done as an intellectual, how can I say, artificial intellectual conceit. It has to be done at the right time and the right place, with permission from the senior people. You see, that's another thing, these Neo-Advaitins, they don't accept guru. I mean, they accept as a matter of fashion. They go to some seminar and hang out with some teacher and they say, oh, he's my guru. They don't really accept in their heart. They don't really love their guru. They certainly have no dedication, no bhakti for their guru. But I do. And so I took permission from this senior Vaishnava, and I went off and I chanted this mantra. And when I say I chanted it, I mean I chanted it 24 hours a day. I always had my mala in my hands, and I was always engaged in thinking on this. Well, after several weeks of this practice, make a long story short, my Ishta-devata appeared. And it wasn't who I thought it was. It was somebody completely different, related, but different. So this is a confidential matter. It shouldn't be discussed in too much detail. But from that moment on, I was linked with this form of Godhead very deeply. And so many realizations came and this and that. And then lately, having gone from the Vaishnava platform to the Shaiva platform and the Advaita platform, then this understanding has matured into a much deeper thing, a much more profound thing. And this Ishta-devata has become revealed in much more detail. Anyway, when I leave this body, which is going to be pretty soon, even though it feels good, it doesn't hurt. It's flexible and healthy, but at some point it's going to drop off. And when that happens, I'm going to go to the planet of Devi. And this is stated in the Shastra. It's stated in the Devi Mahatmya that one who worships Devi during his life goes to her planet after death and lives for a long, long time, very happily, until he gets final liberation. So, according to Yoga Vasishta, that this can all happen in the space of a few days or a few weeks. That time is completely subjective, especially in the spiritual world. Time is totally subjective. So my feeling of what's going to happen is, at some point my body's going to get sick and I'm going to apparently go into a coma. But it won't really be an ordinary coma, it'll be samadhi. And in my samadhi, I will go with my Ishtadevata to the planet of Devi and live there for a long, long time and finally merge into the Absolute. And all that may happen in the space of a few days or a few weeks of earth time, during which my body is more or less unresponsive. So, you see, when I get the call, to go through the portal into the inner space, I have to follow it. It means so much more to me than this external reality, which, from my point of view, my perspective, is just a projection. It's just a sham. It's Maya. It's an illusion. So I don't give it too much importance. All these things are to give you some idea. Like, I'd love to teach Jñāna-yoga, but nobody is willing to qualify themselves. Nobody wants to accept the guru principle. See, their intelligence has been ruined by this neo-advaita. Nobody wants to accept any kind of discipline, any kind of formal worship. They've all been spoiled. And because of that, they can't perfect bhakti. And without bhakti, there's no way they're going to realize the truth of Advaita. Shankaracharya is very clear. He says the adhikar for Advaita is sannyas. You have to have the 8 spiritual qualities: sama, dhamma, titikshava, karunika, etc. This is all given. I discussed this in great detail in the series on Vedanta Sutra. But nobody got that either, which is why I'll do a few episodes of a series, and if I don't see any real interest, I just drop it. It's like, why? If nobody's listening, if nobody's implementing it in their lives, if nobody's actually following practically, why bother? So I'll try another topic, and a little while later, and the same thing happens. This has been going on for years. So you see why sometimes I get fed up? Because I really have been through this stuff. I have experienced it. All those 30 years that I wasn't making videos, or writing books. I've written quite a few books. Does anybody read them? I don't know. They don't get in touch with me and say anything. So it's like, they're out there on the internet. But this is the thing. See, we have, because of this neo-advaita heresy, it has destroyed the impetus for discipleship. It has wrongly incentivized the impersonal Advaita path without having first developed the personal Dvaita and Vishishta Dvaita paths. And because of that, they fail. But they have rationalized their failure so perfectly that they can turn it into success. But it's all bullshit. And everybody deep down, all you neo-Advaitoids know that it's bullshit. Because you don't really have any inner experience, do you? It's just an ego posture. It's just a decoration for your poisonality. I'm so disgusted with these people. They have no integrity. They've taken something that should be beautiful and high, and they've made it crass. So, the pious assholes here in Tiruvannamalai who are pushing this Neo-Advaita are making lots of money. They all have nice houses out in the villages, big pieces of land. They're doing great. So they think. They don't realize what's going to happen to them when they have to leave the body. Because deep down inside, they know that they're peddling bullshit and they're ruining people's lives. And they justify it by saying, well, those people weren't going to make it anyway. No, maybe they weren't. Maybe they came to the spiritual path too late in life, after their personalities had already crystallized. But you're not doing them a favor by selling them an illusion, a false path, a phony realization. And you're not doing yourself a favor either. That material prosperity is going to pass away with this body, if not before. And then you're going to be left with a guilty conscience, and that's going to take you to hell. I'm sorry, that's the law. I didn't make it, and I don't enforce it. Actually, your own mind enforces it. You see, Maya is in everyone as Kundalini. She sees everything through all the senses and the mind. And she knows. She knows when you're being truthful. And she knows when you're being a rascal and ripping off people. And so she's the enforcer of the law. Not that there are little angels perched on your shoulders with, iPads writing down everything you do. No, it's built into the body itself. So conscience is that part of consciousness which is related to truth and gives the reactions to our activities and thoughts and words and so on in the form of karma. And then one has to deal with that. There's no escape. Because you're in the embrace of Kundalini. You're in the embrace of the goddess. You're in this body, and this body is programmed with that law. If you follow the law, then you're in bliss. People see me here every day manifesting ecstatic symptoms, right? But they don't follow the program that leads to those ecstatic symptoms. What can I say? They're hypocrites. So don't be a hypocrite. Don't waste your life. Follow this teaching. Perfect your consciousness. Get real enlightenment. That's the program. But anyway, it's the time of year when I need to retreat into myself, go through the portal into the great emptiness, and realize that I am Shiva. Om Tat Sat. Aum Harihi Aum.